Hi, and welcome back to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My card today is featuring a technique where you're going to color the white embossed lines on a card. Very, very different, but I think you're going to love the results. Here's the card we're going to be creating together today. It uses a brand new bundle of products called Toile Christmas. There are other images in that stamp set along with the coordinating dies that I think are going to steal your heart. If this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, I would love to encourage you to subscribe. Click that subscribe button down below and make sure you click the bell icon that's next to it. That will send you notifications of when I upload a new video, as well as when I'm here live on YouTube. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's card. Here's a good close-up of the card we're going to be creating together. I don't know if you can kind of see the sheen from that, but that comes from the embossing powder. And then we're going to lay pencil over the top. For this technique, it works best on dark cardstock. So I'm using basic black. I'm going to prep the surface first to get it ready for embossing. And this is an embossing buddy, which will repel flakes of embossing powder where there isn't ink. I'll be using my Versamark ink pad, and I've pulled out the large branch image here, and this is from the stamp set called Toile Christmas. Really pretty, and I am in love with this cardinal. Now this stamp set does come with coordinating dies. I've pulled out the ones that we're going to use today, which makes creating cards really simple. You're going to find these products in the brand new holiday catalog that debuts on September 4th. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to receive complimentary copies, just head over to lisasstampstudio.com and click on Contact Me. Because the stamp is rather large, I'm going to turn it face up on my work surface, and I am going to tap the Versamark ink. This is going to ensure that I don't miss a spot. And then I'll stamp that here. You're going to want to make sure you have your embossing powder close at hand because you're going to want to powder it right away. So I've got mine here. I've got it over a coffee filter. That's going to help catch the excess. Now I know it's going to be near impossible to see because this is black cardstock, but as soon as I powder it, it's going to come to life. Be very generous with that. And I'm going to work over the coffee filter. So if I've missed an area, I can go back over it. Give it a good tap to kind of flick off the excess. Now we're ready to heat set this. I've got my heat tool here, and I'm going to work very closely to the cardstock. Now my best advice for you is to make sure that you work in one area at a time. That's going to ensure that you don't miss an area. Now when you're heat embossing on darker cardstock, you're going to find that it's a lot easier to see the powder change from a very powdery finish to almost a crayon-like enamel type finish. I don't know if you can see the difference there. But we're going to go ahead and do this and complete the whole image. I have an additional piece that I'm going to do the exact same thing with. And that's the greeting from that same stamp set. There's also a die for this image as well. Just because I want to make sure that that powder hasn't been wiped off, I'm going to go ahead and repowder that. And I'm going to ink up this image. We'll go ahead and stamp, and then we're going to powder and heat emboss. Now, a couple things about heat embossing I'd like to mention to you. It's very important that you make sure that you have every area heat embossed where the powder has actually been turned. If you don't, if you touch it, it's actually going to rub right off. In addition to that, I find that this technique works best with bolder lines. It's going to make it a lot easier to cover the color. But I am going to show you how to do it on these finer lines as well. Before I die cut, I do recommend that you do your coloring. I'm going to be using the watercolor pencils. Even though I'm not going to use them to blend for watercoloring, they work well for this technique. Other colored pencils will work as well. I have assortment 1 and assortment 2 here, and I've pulled out the pencils that I'm going to use. So I've got the garden green, the old olive, and the cherry cobbler. Now I'm going to work with the cherry cobbler in this area here to create berries. I prefer a tip that's not super pointy sharp because you're going to want to make sure that you don't lift that embossing powder or scratch it off. And you can see here how easy this is. You can just go right over the image and color it in. The great thing about this is because it's pencil, if you accidentally go outside the lines, you simply can take an eraser and just correct that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in all the berries. You can see that the color from the pencil has actually adhered to the white embossing powder. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to the old olive pencil. Again, my tip is a little bit more blunt because I don't want to scratch off that embossing, and I'm going to color in the leaves. The areas inside here that are still black, you have a couple options. You can leave it black, or you can come back over it with your pencil and a little bit of light pigmentation. Because this is black cardstock, these darker colors are not going to be very predominant. I'm going to switch over now to the garden green, and I'm going to go back over some of these areas and just add a little bit of intensity with a darker shade. I'm not going to be very specific about where I put it. I'm just going to create some darker areas. Down here is the detailed area that we talked about. This is going to require a little bit more patience, but the result is absolutely stunning. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to concentrate specifically on those white letters. I'm going to come back to the old olive pencil and I'm going to shade in this area down below and up here on the top. Now we're ready to move on to the die cutting. I'm using the Sizzix Big Shot to die cut, and I've got my images here. And since there's separate dies for each of these, I can do double duty, which means I can place them both on here and die cut them at once. But to make sure that they don't shift on the platform, I love to use these little Post-it note flags. So I'm going to line this up, and then once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to go ahead and tack that down. The separate die for the branch is here, and I'll do the exact same thing. Once those are covered, we're going to go ahead and cover that up with the other clear plate, and then I'll crank that through. We've got our two pieces finished here. I'm going to push those off to the side for just a minute. I'm going to bring in that scrap piece of black paper that we just used. I want to show you how different colored pencils actually look quite different on this black paper. This is the Flirty Flamingo. This is the Granny Apple Green. You can see how intense the colors are on that dark cardstock. Don't be afraid to experiment with colors because the darker colors actually come out very light over the white embossing powder. I have a piece here of Whisper White cardstock. This measures 4 inches by 4 inches. If you're here visiting from YouTube, you'll find all the cutting dimensions down in the link of this video description below. This is the Detailed Trio Punch. I love it because it does 3 things in one. This is going to create a decorative corner. This will corner round, and on this side you've got the perfect hole for larger size ribbon. Now there's a guide in all 3 positions, which is going to make it very easy to use. And I'm going to use the decorative corner on this card. So I'm going to slide my corner inside the punch, making sure that it's aligned on both sides of my guide. Lay it flat on your work surface and then use the heel of your hand. And that's going to give you an absolutely beautiful corner. This is where I'm going to mount my branch. I'm going to be using my silicone craft sheet to help me adhere that because I'm going to be using some liquid glue. You can see that these areas are very, very narrow, and I find that dimensionals and glue dots are either very tedious or they don't fit quite well. So the liquid glue is a wonderful product. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to the silicone craft sheet, which makes it a wonderful tool here in my stamp studio. I'm going to make sure that my glue is flowing well. And then you only need small dabs because a little bit goes a long way. You also want to make sure that when you pick it up, it doesn't extend past the outside image, which means you're going to have glue on the actual card base. So I'll carefully pick that up. I'm going to slide that off to the side. And then I'm going to look to align my branch here to the left. The great thing too about the liquid glue, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So if you need to shift it slightly, you can. I'm going to hold it in place for just a few seconds. And then I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to rub from the back, and I'm going to add dimensionals to the back side. I'm going to use 1 in each of the 4 corners. Of course, I'm going to avoid that decorative corner because I don't want the dimensional to show through. So I'll put it right underneath there. I'm also going to add 1 in the center because this is a very large panel and I want to make sure that the card won't sag when I put it in the mail. I'm going to leave that here while I come to the card base. This measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I did score it in half right before you joined me. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that. I'm a big fan of my bone folder for that nice crisp edge. And then I'm going to mount this here with the fold at the top. I'm looking to leave a margin of that black color all the way around. Remember that greeting? Well, we're going to turn that over as well. And we're going to use dimensionals here on the back side. And then we'll remove those paper backings. This now is going to go here near the bottom of my stem. And then to finish off my card, I opted to use the metallic pearls. Now they come in gold and silver, and they've already got glue dots on the back. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, which has my paper piercing tool attachment on the end. I absolutely love this tool. It has a putty tip here, which is wonderful for picking up small pieces of cardstock or sequins. This side is interchangeable. All you have to do is dial it out. This spatula end is well used, as you can see. This helps me get up underneath those dimensionals when I've put them in the wrong place and I have to reposition a piece. It also comes with a dual-sided stylus tool and a refill for the putty. For $10, you cannot beat this product. It does come with protective caps on both sides. So I'm going to come up underneath here and I'm going to pick up one of those pearls. I'm going to lay one here. I'm going to lay my other here. And I'm going to add one more up here in the corner. Here's the card we created together today and the one I created before you joined me. A really fun technique to color those white embossed lines using colored pencils, or in my case, watercolored pencils. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, which is a like here on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.